Satellite images reveal China's hidden missile base 90 miles from Taiwan. 240 DF-21 ballistic missiles aimed at U.S. carriers. Construction cost $3.7 billion. Discovery date August 12, 2024. 16 hours later, American Special Forces infiltrate. B-2 bombers launch from Missouri. 37 cruise missiles fired. At 2:43 a.m., the entire base erupts. 180 missiles destroyed. 14 hardened bunkers collapsed. 89 Chinese military personnel killed. Base eliminated before it became operational. 0 American casualties. This is how the United States deals with existential threats. November 16, 2025. National Reconnaissance Office analysts discover thermal anomalies in satellite imagery of Fujian Province, China. Location: 90 miles west of Taiwan. Dense forest covers 12 square miles, but infrared signatures reveal massive underground construction. Heat patterns indicate ventilation systems for subterranean facility. Electromagnetic emissions suggest radar installations. The pattern matches previous Chinese strategic missile bases, but the scale dwarfs anything seen before. Enhanced imaging reveals the truth. China had constructed the largest underground missile complex in Asia. 14 reinforced bunkers buried 200 feet below Mountain Ridge. Each bunker housed 20 DF-21D anti-ship ballistic missiles. Total capacity: 280 missiles. These weren't defensive weapons. DF-21D missiles carry 300-pound conventional warheads specifically designed to sink aircraft carriers. Range: 900 miles. Speed: Mach 10 during terminal phase. One hit could cripple a $13 billion carrier. 20 hits would sink it. China had positioned 280 of these weapons within striking distance of every U.S. naval base in the Western Pacific. The intelligence assessment landed on Defense Secretary's desk within 6 hours. The conclusion was unanimous. This base represented unacceptable strategic threat. If operational, Chinese forces could launch coordinated strike against U.S. carrier groups with minimal warning. Taiwan invasion becomes feasible. Japanese bases become vulnerable. American naval supremacy in the Pacific ends. The base had to be eliminated. Question wasn't whether. Question was, how fast? President authorized Operation Silent Thunder at 6:00 p.m. on August 12th. Objective: complete destruction of missile base before it reaches operational status. Timeline: 24 hours. Method: combined special operations infiltration and precision airstrike. Risk level: extreme. Chinese air defenses surrounded the facility. HQ-9 surface-to-air missile batteries positioned within 10-mile radius. J-20 stealth fighters based 40 miles north at Fuzhou Air Base. Any conventional airstrike would face heavy losses. The operation required perfect execution across multiple domains simultaneously. What's your preferred strike method? Type A for stealth bombers and cruise missiles. Type B for special forces and sabotage. SEAL Team 6 and Delta Force operators received mission briefing at 7:30 p.m. Joint Special Operations Task Force, 32 operators total. Insertion method: high-altitude, low-opening parachute jump from modified C-130J at 28,000 feet. Drop zone: 8 miles from target facility. Infiltration route: through mountainous terrain providing cover from Chinese patrols. Mission objectives: neutralize perimeter security, mark exact bunker locations with laser designators, sabotage ventilation systems to compromise structural integrity. Extraction: none planned. Operators would exfiltrate overland to Taiwan, coast 90 miles east after strike completion. Expected casualties: 30%. Every operator volunteered. The Special Operations Task Force launched from Kadena Air Base, Okinawa, at 10:45 p.m. Three C-130J aircraft flew nap-of-the-earth profile across East China Sea. Chinese coastal radar detected nothing. The aircraft climbed to 28,000 feet at 1:20 a.m., exactly 50 miles from Chinese coast. At 1:31 a.m., 32 operators jumped into darkness. Free fall for 24,000 feet. Oxygen starved. Temperature, -40 degrees. Parachutes deployed at 4,000 feet. The operators landed in dense forest 8.3 miles from target. Assembly time, 12 minutes. 0 injuries. Phase 1 complete. Simultaneously, 2 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers launched from Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri at 11:00 p.m., August 12th. Flight distance, 7,200 miles. Flight time, 14 hours, including 2 aerial refuelings. Each B-2 carried 8 AGM-158 JISSM cruise missiles. Total payload, 16 missiles with 1,000-pound penetrating warheads. These weapons were designed specifically for hardened underground targets. The B-2s would arrive over target at exactly 2:43 a.m. Coordination with ground forces was critical. 1 minute early or late meant mission failure. The Special Operations Team moved through mountainous terrain using night vision and thermal optics. Chinese perimeter security was extensive but predictable. Automated sensor network. Roving patrols every 30 minutes. Guard towers at quarter-mile intervals. The operators bypassed sensors using terrain masking. Neutralized 3 roving patrols silently. Suppressed weapons. Close quarters combat. 9 Chinese guards eliminated without raising alarm. By 2:15 a.m., the team reached positions 400 yards from primary bunker entrances. The operators deployed laser target designators at 2:28 a.m., 14 separate aim points. Each designator painted invisible infrared beam on specific bunker entrance or ventilation shaft. The beams reached 40,000 feet, where circling aircraft could detect them. Meanwhile, 4-man demolition team infiltrated the facility's main ventilation complex, placed 80 pounds of C4 explosive on structural support columns. Timer set, 15 minutes. The explosion would compromise bunker integrity seconds before missile impact. Shaped charges would direct blast downward, collapsing ventilation shafts and creating fissures in reinforced concrete. The bunkers would lose structural strength at the exact moment cruise missiles arrived. Support this channel by hitting that thumbs up button if you're finding this tactical breakdown valuable. At 2:38 a.m., the B-2 bombers reached launch position 180 miles east of target. Both aircraft released 8 JASSM missiles each. 16 weapons dropped from internal bays. Engines ignited. The missiles descended to 200 feet altitude and accelerated to 550 miles per hour. Terrain following flight profile. Radar cross-section smaller than large bird. Chinese air defense radars detected nothing. Flight time to target, 12 minutes. USS Michigan, an Ohio-class guided missile submarine, surfaced 240 miles east of Chinese coast at 2:39 a.m. The submarine had been shadowing Chinese naval forces for 6 days. Now, it received execute order. 21 Tomahawk cruise missiles erupted from vertical launch tubes, each missile programmed for specific target. Chinese radar installations, SAM batteries, command and control nodes, communications towers. The Tomahawks would arrive simultaneously with the JASSM missiles. Chinese forces would face 37 incoming threats across 40-mile radius. Air defense systems would be overwhelmed instantly. The demolition charges detonated at 2:41 a.m. Massive explosion ripped through the ventilation complex. Concrete columns shattered, support structures collapsed, underground shafts imploded. The explosion registered 3.2 on seismic monitors. Chinese base personnel felt the tremor but didn't understand its meaning. They assumed mining accident or earthquake. Base commander ordered status check. Before reports arrived, the real attack began. First, Tomahawk struck at 2:43 a.m. Target, main radar installation 3 miles from missile base. The 1,000-pound warhead vaporized the radar array and killed 12 operators. Second Tomahawk hit the primary SAM battery. HQ-9 missile launchers exploded in chain reaction. Third and fourth Tomahawks destroyed backup radar sites. In 15 seconds, Chinese air defense network ceased to exist. The base was blind and defenseless. The JASSM missiles arrived at 2:44 a.m., 16 weapons diving toward 14 laser-designated targets. The missiles' penetrating warheads were designed for exactly this scenario. Reinforced concrete, deep underground structures. Each warhead could punch through 15 feet of hardened material before detonating. The missiles struck in sequence across 30-second window. Each impact sent shockwave through the mountain. Each detonation collapsed bunker sections already weakened by the ventilation explosion. Bunker 1 took 2 JASSM hits. First missile penetrated to 180-foot depth before exploding. 20 DF-21 missiles inside detonated sympathetically. The explosion created underground fireball reaching 4,000 degrees. Solid rocket fuel burned in confined space. Pressure wave propagated through connecting tunnels. Bunker 2 and 3 collapsed from the shock wave. 60 missiles destroyed in first 10 seconds. Bunkers 4 through 7 absorbed 8 JASSM impacts. Each bunker's reinforced ceiling cracked and collapsed. Missiles inside were crushed or detonated. Chinese personnel in control rooms died instantly from overpressure. The lucky ones never knew what hit them. Others burned alive as fuel fires consumed oxygen in sealed compartments. Emergency exits collapsed. Ventilation failed. Those who survived initial explosions suffocated within minutes. What would you have done if you were Chinese base commander? Disperse the missiles or keep them concentrated for easier maintenance? Comment your strategic analysis below. Bunkers 8 through 14 received remaining JASSM strikes plus 4 additional Tomahawk missiles that had completed their air defense suppression mission. 10 weapons hitting 6 bunkers. Complete overkill. But the mission objective wasn't damage. It was annihilation. Every bunker collapsed. Every missile destroyed. The underground complex that took 3 years and $3.7 billion to construct ceased to exist in 90 seconds. The Special Operations Team observed from their positions 400 yards away. Thermal optics showed heat blooms from each bunker entrance. Secondary explosions continued for 6 minutes as missile fuel burned and ordnance cooked off. Smoke columns rose 3,000 feet, visible for 60 miles. Chinese quick reaction forces from Fuzhou mobilized within 10 minutes. But they arrived at Crater Field. Nothing remained to protect. The operators exfiltrated at 2:52 a.m., 8-hour movement through mountainous terrain toward Taiwan coast. Chinese security forces searched for infiltrators but found nothing. The operators moved in 4-man teams using different routes. By 11:00 a.m., August 13th, all 32 operators reached extraction points on Taiwan's northern coast. Taiwanese fishing vessels recovered them under cover of routine maritime activity. 0 casualties, 0 captured, mission complete. Chinese damage assessment teams entered the facility at 8 a.m. What they found ended any hope of rebuilding. All 14 bunkers collapsed beyond repair. 180 DF-21 missiles destroyed. Another 60 missiles damaged beyond use. Total loss, 240 of 280 missiles. The remaining 40 missiles were in separate storage facility 12 miles away. Chinese engineers estimated reconstruction timeline, 4 years minimum. Cost, $5 billion. Beijing quietly canceled the project. The remaining missiles were relocated to existing bases far from Taiwan. If you're enjoying this deep dive into special operations and strategic strikes, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss our tactical breakdowns. The human cost was severe. 89. Chinese military personnel died in the initial strikes. Another 140 suffered burns, blast injuries, or crush trauma. Most casualties occurred in the control centers and bunker access tunnels. Chinese state media reported tragic accident during training exercise. No mention of American attack, no acknowledgement of strategic defeat. Beijing couldn't admit that U.S. forces penetrated Chinese airspace, eliminated a $3.7 billion facility, and exfiltrated without losses. The tactical lessons from Operation Silent Thunder reshaped modern military doctrine. First, underground facilities provide protection from conventional weapons only if their locations remain secret. Satellite reconnaissance eliminated that advantage. Thermal imaging, synthetic aperture radar, electromagnetic signature detection, modern intelligence systems find everything. Building massive installations guarantees discovery. China invested billions in a base that became target within days of completion. Second, combined arms operations multiply effectiveness exponentially. Special forces marked targets, stealth bombers delivered precision weapons, submarine-launched cruise missiles suppressed defenses. Every element synchronized to the minute. No single component could have succeeded alone. Integration created overwhelming advantage. Chinese forces faced simultaneous threats across multiple domains. Defense became impossible. Third, speed matters more than secrecy in strategic operations. U.S. intelligence discovered the base on August 12th. American forces destroyed it 16 hours later. Beijing never had time to respond. The missiles never became operational. Moving fast prevented China from reinforcing defenses, dispersing missiles, or creating political barriers to attack. Decisive action before enemy can react wins wars. The geopolitical fallout extended far beyond one destroyed base. China's military modernization suffered severe credibility damage. Beijing had invested heavily in anti-access area denial strategy. DF-21 missiles were centerpiece of that strategy. The missiles were supposed to keep U.S. carriers away from Taiwan. Now 240 of them were wreckage buried under collapsed mountain. Chinese military planners realized their facilities weren't invulnerable. Their air defenses weren't impenetrable. Their forces weren't safe even inside Chinese territory. Taiwan's security dramatically improved overnight. The primary threat to the island was Chinese missile arsenal, capable of destroying Taiwanese defenses before invasion. Operation Silent Thunder eliminated 240 missiles that could have targeted Taiwanese infrastructure. Beijing's invasion timeline pushed back years. Taiwan had breathing room to strengthen defenses and deepen security partnerships. The destroyed base did more for Taiwanese security than any diplomatic agreement could achieve. Regional allies noticed America's willingness to act decisively. Japan, South Korea, Philippines, and Australia all increased defense cooperation with the United States. The message was clear. American security guarantees are backed by capability and will to use it. Beijing's aggressive expansion in the Pacific triggered countervailing coalition. Every Chinese provocation strengthened U.S. alliance network. Your engagement directly shapes what we cover next. Drop a comment and subscribe to support this channel. The financial mathematics tell their own story. China spent $3.7 billion building the base, lost 240 missiles worth approximately $1.8 billion. Total Chinese losses, $5.5 billion plus 4 years of construction time. U.S. expenditure, $85 million in weapons, 16 JASSM missiles at $1.4 million each, 21 Tomahawks at $1.8 million each, B-2 flight operations at $10 million. Special Operations Mission costs at $5 million. Return on investment, 65 to 1. Strategic victory achieved for 1.5% of enemy's investment. The destroyed base sent message that resonated in Moscow, Tehran, and Pyongyang. Hidden facilities aren't safe. Underground installations aren't invulnerable. Building strategic weapon systems while they can still be destroyed is better than building them and watching them get obliterated. North Korea quietly suspended construction on 3 underground missile facilities. Iran reinforced air defenses around its nuclear sites. Russia dispersed strategic assets across wider geographic area. Everyone learned the lesson. American Special Operations Forces gained legendary status within military community. 32 operators infiltrated Chinese territory, marked 14 targets with perfect precision, sabotaged critical infrastructure, exfiltrated 90 miles through hostile terrain, 0 casualties, 0 captures. The mission became case study at every Special Operations Training Center. This is what Tier 1 operators accomplish when properly supported and clearly tasked. The B-2 bomber program justified its enormous cost in one night. Each B-2 cost $2.1 billion to build. Critics called them budget-busting Cold War relics. Operation Silent Thunder proved their value. Only stealth bombers could penetrate Chinese airspace undetected. Only B-2s could deliver precision weapons from standoff range. The aircraft delivered 8 missiles each with perfect accuracy. Both aircraft returned to Missouri undamaged. No defensive systems even detected them. That's worth every $1 billion. This kind of detailed tactical breakdown takes serious time to research and produce. Subscribe to help us keep making this content. The psychological impact on Chinese military leadership proved more valuable than physical destruction. Beijing's generals understood they weren't safe behind their borders. American forces could reach inside China, eliminate strategic assets, and escape before response was possible. That understanding changed Chinese decision-making calculus. Risk calculations shifted. Aggressive actions carried higher costs. The destroyed missile base became invisible barrier constraining Chinese military options. Taiwan invasion planning was shelved indefinitely. Chinese military staff estimated they needed 800 ballistic missiles for successful invasion. Operation Silent Thunder destroyed 240 in one night. Rebuilding would take years, but if U.S. forces could destroy one base overnight, they could destroy others. Chinese military couldn't guarantee sufficient missile inventory to overcome Taiwanese defenses. Without missile supremacy, amphibious invasion becomes suicidal. Beijing's generals refused to recommend invasion without better odds. The facility's destruction validated decades of American investment in intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Satellite systems detected the base. Signals intelligence confirmed its purpose. Human intelligence provided construction details. Every intelligence discipline contributed. Without that comprehensive intelligence picture, the base might have become operational. Instead, perfect intelligence enabled perfect strike. Information dominance translates to battlefield dominance. For American taxpayers, Operation Silent Thunder demonstrated return on defense spending. The mission prevented war by eliminating weapons before they could threaten. Destroyed 240 missiles that would have killed American sailors. Protected allied nations from coercion. Maintained peace through strength. All for $85 million in munitions. Less than 1% of one day's defense budget. That's not expense. That's investment in security. 2 final questions for you. Should the United States have warned China before striking, or was surprise essential to mission success? And if China builds another secret missile base, should America's response be even faster? Leave your strategic thoughts in the comments. If you made it this far, you are exactly the audience we create this content for. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our military analysis. Share this with anyone interested in special operations, strategic warfare, and how America protects its interests. This is Navy Force, USA, where we break down the missions that never make headlines, but shape the world we live in. Stay sharp, stay informed, and remember, hiding strategic weapons doesn't protect them. Modern intelligence finds everything. American forces reach everywhere. Building threats to U.S. forces or allies guarantees those threats get eliminated. Quickly, decisively, permanently. China learned that lesson on August 13, 2024 at 2:43 a.m. They won't forget it. Neither will anyone else watching.